A day after President Trump threatened to use the Insurrection Act and deploy the military to our state, he seems to be turning up the heat on one burner. The DOJ is reportedly investigating Mayor Fry and Governor Walz for allegedly obstructing law enforcement activity. And then President Trump seems to be backing off a little when it comes to the Insurrection Act.
If I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it.
That's different than yesterday. The Walz administration also tells me tonight they are now engaged in an ongoing conversation with the White House. This all comes on the heels of a lot of testimony today in a congressional hearing that was actually held in St. Paul. In it, one woman described her experience at an ICE detention center, saying she's never felt so afraid in her 14 years of living in Minneapolis.
At the detention center, I was made to feel intimidated and as though my constitutional rights and biological needs didn't matter. After all that, I was released without charges, which makes it clear to me that this is more of a campaign to spread fear and terror than it is to enforce the law.
Patty, who you also heard from on Monday night on our show, and then just there, is not alone. 7 others shared their experiences with nearly 30 Democrat U.S. representatives today, and it filled more than 3 hours of testimony. Here's Gordon.
Welcome to this hearing.
Congressional hearings are rarely held outside of our nation's capital.
That 28 members of the U.S. House of Representatives have traveled from all over the country to be with you today.
Democratic congressional members from 18 states invited Minnesotans to share their stories of how ICE activity has affected their lives.
Without asking us to get out of the car, smashed both of the front windows, dragged us out, and arrested us.
Including Patty O'Keefe, who says she and a friend were working as ICE observers when they were detained for 8 hours and released without any charges.
I was escorted into the building and led to a room where they put me in ankle shackles. When I was inside my cell, I heard wailing, screaming, crying, begging, and pleading from women, men, and children.
A man who says he is a legal U.S. citizen from Ethiopia says he was arrested and detained simply because of his skin color and his accent.
I immediately started repeating over and over again, I'm a citizen, I'm a citizen, I'm a citizen. But the agent did not stop to look at my ID.
The testimony also included a law enforcement perspective from the chief of the Mendota Heights Police Department.
Tell us what tactics they are using, that you see them using, that we would never use in local law enforcement.
The first and most obvious is hiding your identity, masking, not wearing a nameplate, and not giving name and badge number. Some members of ICE don't have any training or access to intermediate force weapons, where they are moving right from talking to pointing guns at people.
Federal officials, including President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, have defended the ICE activity, arguing it's providing safety by arresting criminals and rooting out fraud.
Remember, we are there in surged operations because of the largest fraud scheme in American history.
Democratic leaders, however, argue ICE has made their communities less safe, and they're currently working on legislation that will ensure the agents in their communities follow the law during their deployments.
Like unmasking agents, respecting sensitive locations, implementing a body camera program.
A few of the Congress members say that they are hearing that their communities may soon experience an increased amount of ICE activity, so they wanted to hear from Minnesotans who are currently seeing this in their neighborhood. Gordon Severson, KARE 11 News.
Obviously, there were not any Republican members on that panel, so we reached out to 4 of them, former of our members of the delegation in Congress. We did hear back from Tom Emmer, who called the hearing, in his opinion, political charade. And he says he believes the best way to calm things down is for local leaders to start cooperating with federal law enforcement.